The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of ParaX, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
All these voices. All these voices. All these things you can't explain. All these painful memories. They keep haunting you and daunting me. It's just the ghost of you and me. It's just the smoke and gasoline. It's just the ghost of you and me. Of you and me.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Staring Into the Abyss. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
I am doing good. How's everybody tonight?
Tonight's episode is going to be a little bit different. Tonight we're not going to be going deep into research or have an article or anything like that. Tonight I want to talk about what is to me probably one of the cringiest words or phrases that I have heard in a long, long time in the paranormal field. And that is paranormal unity. Now I'll explain. And I'm sure a lot of you are already on your keyboards getting ready to type away. But let me explain what I'm talking about. All I've been hearing lately, over and over and over again, for probably like the last year, pretty solid year I've been hearing this, is paranormal unity. Everybody's talking about paranormal unity. And the basic idea of paranormal unity is a good one, where we all get along and we all behave ourselves and not badmouth each other and just accept each other. That's a wonderful idea. The problem I have, and the reason that I say it's one of the cringiest phrases, is because it's not reality. That's not what's actually happening in most cases. And I think that that's something that we all really need to have a discussion about. We need to talk about this. Let's get it out on the table. Let's discuss. I would say probably a good 70 to 75%. And that might be being generous. But I'm going to say a good 75% of the people that are always parroting the paranormal unity line, they're the first people that are talking about each other and stabbing each other in the back and all that kind of stuff. And this show tonight, I don't want it just to be like a rant on paranormal unity, because I think there's deeper issues that we can really get into here and maybe change a few minds. The biggest, in my view, problem that we're dealing with here is we're different people. Staring Into the Abyss is the perfect microcosm of this problem. On Staring, you have me. I am a Christian. I am a pastor. I am a Bible-believing Christian. And you have Old Boy, who is pretty much the exact opposite of that. Now, we've been doing this show for years now together. We talk during this hour that we come before you every week. We talk pretty much every day to each other. We're like best friends, okay? Now, you would think that because of my belief system and because of his belief system, we ought to be mortal enemies. So how are we able to not only do a show together, which actually we do a couple shows together because we do Tales from the Abyss together as well, which is the video version of what we do, where we actually go out on paranormal investigations and we help people and that kind of stuff. But the reason we're able to do that, and the reason that we are such good friends and speak to each other on a daily basis, is because we show each other respect. We don't bash each other. We don't judge each other. And that is what is necessary. If you actually want to get to paranormal unity, we've got to start examining what we're doing. You have too much drama I'll just put it that way. That's the easiest way to say it. Too much drama going on between Christians and other. By other, I mean, I'm saying other because I'm going to lump a lot of different groups into the other category that's kind of got this war going on. On one side, you have the Christians, the people that are going to church and are Bible-believing people. And then you have, on the other side, you have the Wiccans, the pagans, the Satanists, all those kind of people. Now, the problem is, you can't just sit down and have a conversation without that becoming a problem. And it doesn't need to. Like I said, me and Old Boy, pretty much exact opposites in belief systems. And we're able to coexist and be quite happy talking to each other. If you're a longtime fan of Staring, then you know that we've had several people on from several different religions. Okay, we did a show with a Satanist that came on and I spoke to for an hour. Very pleasant gentleman. We had a great conversation. He was very respectful. I was very respectful. And we actually left as friends, so to speak. I don't talk to him that often, but he was very nice. And we were very friendly with each other, and it was fine. We had another gentleman on who is like an Egyptian priest guy or something. He believes in like the old gods of Egypt and everything. And we had a great conversation. Never had a problem. I've had people on the show that are Christians, that are like me, who are really Bible-believing Christians. And they've had great conversations with Old Boy, and there's never been an issue. There's only an issue when we make it an issue. And I'm going to let Old Boy speak to the pagans and the Wiccans and the Satanists and all them people, because that's his people. But I want to speak to my people. I want to speak to the Christians out there who are judging all of these other people who are not Christians. Remember, the good book says, the Word of God says, judge not lest ye be judged. Judgment is for God, not for us. We're supposed to love each other. That's what we're called to do. Another great quote from the Bible, another great verse, Matthew 7:5. Says, thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. In other words, don't be pointing out somebody else's mess when you got a mess of your own. Don't worry about their mess. That's not your job. Your job is to love that person. Yes, we're supposed to spread the gospel. 100% believe that. And Old Boy, when he gets on here, he can testify to you that I do in fact spread the gospel with him quite regularly. A matter of fact, right before we went on the air, we were having a conversation and I was talking about the gospel to him again. But I don't do it in a pushy, terrible way where I'm judging him and insulting him and all that kind of stuff. I do it out of love. I'm very respectful and he's very respectful back. You know, he was telling me about his belief system. And I didn't laugh at him. I didn't call him stupid. I didn't say, you know, hey, you're wrong, dude. You're full of crap. No, I was respectful. That's what we have to do. We have to be respectful to each other and treat each other with love. If you are going to follow the Bible, you need to understand what you're supposed to be doing. And I see this way too much. I see people that will quote scripture from the Old Testament about every little thing that somebody's doing wrong. But either they don't realize, or maybe they just don't know any better. But let me explain. Especially let me explain for all the pagans and the atheists and the Wiccans and all those people that don't follow the Bible. But I'm talking to the Christians when I'm saying this, but this will benefit you guys too, so you can understand what we're actually supposed to be doing. When you are quoting the law from the Word of God, which is the Old Testament law, you are kind of missing the point. You're leaving out the entire New Testament. Jesus called us to love one another. Remember when he was asked what you have to do to get to heaven? What was his response? He said, love your neighbor as you love yourself and love God with all of your heart. That's what we're called to do. And I paraphrase the hell out of that, just so you understand. That's not the actual verse, but I don't want to be quoting a whole bunch of verses here. The gospel is what gets you to heaven. Believing that Jesus Christ was God in the flesh. He came down to earth. He died for our sins on that cross so that we could be found righteous and go to heaven. And 3 days later, he rose from the dead. That's the gospel. That's what gets you to heaven. But as far as our behavior goes, what we're supposed to be doing, what we're called to do, Jesus laid it out plain and simple when he said, love your neighbor as you love yourself, love God with all your heart. That's what we're called to do. We're not called to judge. And I'm going to use Old Boy, and forgive me if anybody gets upset by this, but I'm going to use Old Boy as an example because he's the one I'm talking to here tonight. If I was to tell Old Boy, now this is a completely fictional example, just so you understand. If I was to tell Old Boy, you stole that car. That's stealing. That's against the law. That's against man's law, and that's against God's law. You broke one of the 10 commandments. Therefore, you're subhuman. You're not as good as I am because you're a sinner now. Well, there's multiple things wrong with that statement. One, I'm not supposed to be judging Old Boy for what he does. I'm supposed to be loving Old Boy and trying to help Old Boy if I can. Two, remember the verse I just read you, Matthew 7:5? Why would I be pointing out his sin when I have sin of my own? And that's the thing that most Christians forget. Every single one of you has sinned. Every single one of you is guilty in the eyes of the Lord. Every single one of you deserve hellfire, myself included. None of us are worthy. Not one. Every single one of us deserves to burn for all eternity. You are not any better because you are saved. Jesus paid the price for you. It's his righteousness that's getting you in, not your own. Without the blood of Christ, you're going to burn too. Secondly, you cannot judge people by the old law. That's what the New Testament was for. Once again, called to love. That doesn't mean that the old law is no longer the law. It's still the law. It is what convicts us. The blood of Christ is what paid our fine. So for those that aren't Bible followers and maybe you're having a little bit of trouble with this concept, let's go back to the stealing a car example. Old boy stole a car. He goes to court. The judge decides instead of sending him to prison, he's going to give him this opportunity. Okay, if you pay $100,000 right now, then you don't have to go to jail. But if you can't come up with it right now, then you're going to jail for 10 years. If somebody walks in that courtroom and lays $100,000 down on the table and says, this is for Old Boy's fine, he's free to go. Doesn't mean he's not guilty, but his fine has been paid. So he's free to go. That's what happened on that cross. All the sin that we have committed in our lifetimes, those crimes, when we go before God, we go before the ultimate judge, there's a punishment for those crimes. Jesus came in and he paid the fine for us so that we don't have to go to hell, we can go to heaven. So what you guys need to understand and remember before you start downing somebody because of their life choices. You're just as bad. You've all sinned. The wages of sin are death. All sin is death. So it doesn't matter if you told your wife that she doesn't look fat in that dress just so she doesn't get mad at you. Guess what, bud? You just lied. That's sin. If you walked out your door and your neighbor's got a brand new Corvette or something and you thought, oh man, look, man, that's a beautiful car. I wish I had that car. You just sinned. That's coveting. That's death. The Ten Commandments says, thou shalt not kill. But Jesus said that if you even get angry with your brother, you're guilty of murder in your heart. How many of you can say you've never even gotten angry at another person? You're a murderer in your heart. That's sin. That's enough to convict you. How many of you have never been to the beach or a swimming pool or something like that and seen a girl in a bikini? Or for you ladies out there, how many of you have not seen a guy with his shirt off, all chiseled and muscular, and thought, damn, that's lust. And if you're married, you've just committed adultery in your heart. Both of which are sin. That's death. My point is, if you go through the list, every single one of us are guilty of multiple charges. We've broken the law on a daily basis, probably most of us. And most of you people that are judging other people, you're still breaking the law. Almost on a daily basis. Just remember that it is the blood of Christ that saves you. It is not your own righteousness. So you have no room to judge anybody or down anybody or try to hurt anybody. Now, on the other side, there are a lot of people that are Wiccans and pagans and all of the other that have a real problem with Christians. A lot of you out there really hate Christians. And we could go through all the reasons for that. And there are a lot of them. The Crusades, the witch trials, there's all kinds of stuff that's really messed up that has been done in the name of God. And you have Christians nowadays that aren't very nice to some people. But what I would say to you, if you're one of those people that has that problem with Christians, they are not doing what Christ told them to do. Because Christ did not tell us to judge each other and down each other and hurt each other. He told us to love one another and to help one another. And I'll also remind you that Jesus also had a problem with religious people. They nailed him to a cross. Remember who did that? That was the Pharisees. That was the religious elite of the day. When he went into the square and he turned over the money changer tables, that was at the temple. Those were the religious elite that he was turning the tables over and knocking their money all over the ground. So he had a problem with those same people that you got a problem with. So don't think less of Christ and don't turn your back on God just because some human beings are doing what they're not supposed to be doing. Now, if I wanted to, I could go through dozens and dozens of scripture verses that would prove exactly what I'm saying, but I don't think that's necessary. You don't want to hear it, and frankly, I honestly don't want to do it because it's pointless. But believe me when I say I'm a man that has read the Bible dozens of times. I study the Bible. I know the Bible. That is not what we're supposed to be doing. You don't have very many actual Christians anymore. And that's the sad truth of it. You have a lot of people that claim to be Christian. You have a lot of people that claim they believe in God. But you do not have a lot of people that are actually following what the Bible says and following the words of Christ. And spoiler alert, that goes all the way to the church too. There are a lot of churches out there that are not following the words of Christ. And that's a big problem. Now that's a problem for my people to deal with and to figure out and to try to fix. But what I want you all to hear, and what I think the important thing to hear is, the things that are being done to you in God's name that upsets you like that, that's not what God wants us to do. He doesn't call us to do that. He calls us to love and help each other. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw over to Old Boy. And I want to get his opinion on everything. And if he would, I would like him to kind of speak to the other side, because that's the side he's on, and the problems that he sees and the solutions that he sees. So, Old Boy? Go.
Well, it's pretty much everything he was saying is the same thing on our side. The one thing is got to stop is, and it's everyone, it's not one religion, it's everybody's religion, is, for one, we're supposed to be helping people act. And whatever they believe in, and remember, it's not always going to be Catholics, Christians, pagans. We're trying to help people. The problem I see is too many people are mixing what they believe in instead of trying to help people all together. And that's with everything we're doing. And that's everything in life, I think. It's not just with the paranormal world. Another thing I see is with the paranormal world, paranormal world is, it's not just that. I think a lot of people just want to be famous. And I know people are going to get mad when I said this, but I see that. Back in the day, I don't know, remember that show on MTV? I forget what the Fear Factor, I think it was, or something. I remember watching that. I think it was in my late 20s. My daughter wasn't born yet, or I think she was just like a year or something. And I thought that show was awesome, man. And they would go and listen for ghosts, and it was a cool show because there's nothing else like it. And then, Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters, Ghost everything in the world, Ghost PM, I'm being, trying to be funny, Destination Fear, stuff like that. And there's so many different shows now. Wraith Chasers, Finding Bigfoot. Now, I'm also a crypto. I don't just do that. So that's another thing we like, is aliens and stuff. But the problem I see with paranormal world is there's a lot of people who are condemning each other because of beliefs. Even my people do it. Pagan, Satanist, non-believers who don't believe in anything. That's probably atheists, agnostics, Egyptians, pagans, Wiccans. We do attack Christians too. Catholics, Abrahamic religions, Muslims. I don't know if you would call them the same religion. They're a little bit different. But we attack them. And the first thing it's said, I don't think people listen to each other anymore. The first thing, if you even say anything about God, 90% of people who don't believe in it go off the handle. And vice versa. First time you say something about God, it isn't something nice. It's to try to condemn people. And 90% of the time, it's true. And 90% of the time, the other way, it's true. You're not trying to listen to what they're saying. You just don't want to hear it because you don't believe in what you believe in. And I get it. And my personal opinion is, I don't care what anybody believes in. It's not my job to judge you. I don't care if you believe in God, or you believe in Buddha, or you believe in Satan, or you believe in Allah. Those are the popular religions right now. The point is, I do a show with a reborn again Christian. In most people's mind, it doesn't matter from Wiccan, Christian, pagan, Satanist. In a lot of Christians' minds, Catholics, I'm a Satanist. It doesn't matter. I believe in the devil. I probably go out and, sacrifice children. And we're so much against that. It's ridiculous. That's Hollywood and fears that happened in the 16 and 1800s and even before that. And I think some people were murdered because of this. And James has done shows about this. There's some people who deserved it. Trust me, they were doing bad things. There is people who do bad things. There is people, don't get it wrong, who are doing stuff for Satan and doing magic. And we don't call it black magic or left or right. It's how you use it. If you're going to be good or you're going to use it for bad or negative. If you're using it to attack people, put spells on people, you're doing it for a reason. You're doing it because you're getting something out of it or some kind of power out of it. Or you just like to hurt people. And I believe that also happens in the other side too. I believe there's people who just, if you don't believe in what they believe in, you're condemned. You're done. You're going to hell. And that's not just Christians. Catholics do it. Jehovah's Witnesses do it. Even Muslims believe in hell. Or they believe they destroy it. There's some, and it's not that it's everyone. Don't get this wrong. Not everyone who believes in these religions are bad people. There's some people who will go out to the fullest, though, where they'll kill somebody over this. And vice versa, my religion too. There's people who've done it. And that's why we have so many problems right now, is you can't even do a show or talk to somebody without having a pretty good chance. If you don't believe in each other's beliefs, there's going to be an argument. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or a Catholic. Even Christians and Catholics, my mom is a reborn-again Christian and is a preacher, but she has different views than James does. I know people who are Catholic who have, are different views than Christians do. They do. There's a difference. If you read scripture, they have a difference of opinion. And they both think they're wrong. That's the funny thing is, and he'll tell you, like, especially in Mormons, I'm not trying to bash anybody, but they go to people's houses. So do Jehovah's Witnesses. I've never had Christians go to my house. I'm not saying they're not Christian because they consider Mormons Christians. But I don't go to people's houses telling my opinions on things. And I'm not saying they have anything bad to do with, and maybe it says that's what they're taking it and they're portraying what it says in their Bible, because they all have different versions of the Bible. It's just the point is, if you tell me about God, that's fine. I don't care. I'll listen to it. And we can walk our separate ways. And I'll tell you what I believe in. But when you start condemning me, you start telling me I'm going to burn in hell, and that's what you believe. Because in reality, that's what it says. Let's not get it wrong. You believe that. But when you think you're better than me and you're not doing any kind of sins and I should be burned into a stake, or you just won't even talk to me. And vice versa. If you see somebody who's a Christian and right off the bat they're a racist, they're a bigot, they believe in Trump, and I'm just saying this is what I see. That's not always true. I've met Christians who voted Democrat and voted that have no problem with anybody. I'm not trying to bring any kind of, that's as far as I'll go with politics. But not everybody's Christians are bad people, and they're not trying to condemn you. The problem I have is you're willing to destroy your family because of something somebody believes or does or chooses to live their lifestyle. And you'll throw them on the street where they would die, and something bad can happen to them, or it's my house, or it's my belief, or you don't like it, get out. So what you're basically saying is, if I don't believe in or live the lifestyle you want, then you can go die. Because that's pretty much what you're saying. When you're kicking somebody out in the street that doesn't have a job or they're young, you're basically condemning them to the streets. If they survive, they survive. They probably will. But then what you're saying is you no longer care about them. that you made the judgment on them and you judge them to whatever fate they get. And it would be with anybody. If you believed that you're a Wiccan and you wanted to be a Christian, and your kid comes up to you and says, I believe in God, or get out of my house, you're no better than the Christian would be. You're doing the same thing. You're judging. Judging altogether, you're not supposed to be do. None of us are supposed to be, just because somebody, what they look, how they talk, how they do something. I don't think it has to do with it. I think it's jealousy, if you want to know the truth. And that's come with the paranormal world. I know it's hard. We're trying to keep this paranormal. I think a lot of people, the first battle is religion. The second one is how many followers I'm going to get. People are going to see this. That's the other issue we want to get into. We want to get just out of this, is how many people are so worried about being famous instead of helping people. Or finding out the truth. Are these things real? Or what's going on? People are getting attacked. Not how many followers on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram I'm going to see. And I can portray myself as something different when I really ain't. I'm going to be honest with you, 95% of these people on social media are not who they say they are. It's with everything. It's paranormal, it's YouTube videos, cooking, it's cards, it's everything into one. Everybody wants to be famous. And that's a big thing I've been seeing in the paranormal world, is everybody wants to be famous. And I don't get it. It's just crazy to me. It's not what it's supposed to be. I mean, it's cool if you do make it. Cool, man. Wow, you made it. You're on TV. You made some money. Cool. Help people, though. Don't go on TV and then in another way we hear you're a different kind of person than some of these guys really are, and they treat people like crap when they're at conventions and when people ask them for autographs, they get mad. You got to realize something. When you're famous, you better get used to being bothered all the time. I get it if somebody comes up and starts disrespecting you. That's a whole different thing. But you better get used to people bothering you all the time. If you don't want to do it, you're in the wrong field of work. I'm talking about with anything, movies, anything. And I know people want privacy and you deserve it. Like James, he's a book writer. He'll tell you after we're done with this how many times he's had to deal with people. 99% of the time, he doesn't bother. But when you're bothering him with his wife, he does have a right. Yes, you're his fans. You helped him get somewhere. You bought his books. He's the one who wrote it. Yes, you liked it. But he has a right, just like you do at your job, to have a break. Anybody does. Like me, I'm getting well known now. I mean, I don't care. And I have people, talking to me. I have a book out, whatever, and I do and a lot of people are watching Taro's and Staring at the Abyss now. Big name people. And you know what? I don't care. They listen to the show, they don't. If 5 people listen to the show and 100 million people listen to the show, I wouldn't care. I'm still going to do it because I enjoy it. I don't care what James, I care about James, but his belief is his belief. It's not going to change how I feel about him. He believes in it. He's a good man. That's all that matters. Yes, you might think he's not because you don't believe in what he believes. He might have a different opinion, but he's not a bad person. Just like there's some people on my side, they're not bad people either. But there's some people who are. But that's with everything. There's bad people in every religion, every belief, every race. There's bad people who just don't care about anybody else but being famous, powerful, money, and greed. And that's just something you can't deal with. You can't change. It's been like this for 10,000 years longer, whatever you want to call it. How many years it has been? There's nothing you can do about it. There's always going to be somebody who's going to sin. It doesn't matter what you believe or what bad and good. There's always going to be good, and there's always going to be something bad that happens. There's always going to be somebody who didn't deserve it and somebody who did, but they get away with it. That's just life. It's like nature. Somebody said a perfect saying. Nature can could be loving, but can be cruel at the same time. Something with nature, it takes care of its cubs. It's loving. But in another sense, it's a killer. It'll go out and kill with no judgment, no nothing. That's a species. It just kills you. It could be the cute little, hey, look at the little cute little buffalo, not to a lion it's going to eat. So it's instincts to kill, like a shark. Why do you think sharks have lasted forever? They have no feelings. They have to eat to survive. They're beautiful creatures, but they're deadly. And I get what they're saying. We were meant to thrive, build up whatever we're going to do, live our lives, have children, not fight, kill each other over Kellers, over money, over which wife is better looking, argue and fight over religion, stab each other, blow each other up over beliefs. Because what you're really saying in reality is everything has hate in it. Then every belief, every hate, whatever we're doing, it seems like it always comes down to these topics. And it's sad. It's sad that for thousands of years, we're still doing the same dumb things, but just have different points now. And we're using different point of views. But it's pretty much the same thing. And the sad thing is there's probably people, now how life is, not everybody gets killed or anything, but it's sad that there's millions of people who probably died for nothing because of the way they thought. And this isn't just about paranormal. This show might get a lot of people mad. I don't care. It should be said. If we don't change the way we are, this is going to keep going the same slope. And I know no one's going to, 90, 100,000 people ain't going to care what I think. I'm just old boy. He's probably just saying this to get ratings. I really do believe this. If we're destroying ourselves over stuff that we can actually fix. And if it's funny, if you didn't say what you believed in, and we were all blind, you couldn't say people were fat. You couldn't see what people's colors are, skin. You couldn't say what they believed. What would we fight about then? I bet you there would still be something you would fight about. Oh, he ate too much ham, or there would be something. It just seems that as human beings, we always find something to fight about. And either we're bored, we think we're better than each other. And I think that's a lot of the things with religion. I think that all religions, in some way, if you look at it, is some kind of form of we're better than you. And it doesn't matter what you believe in. I'm talking about all religions. If you don't believe my way, then screw you. You're wrong. I don't care what you have to say. I don't want to hear it. I'm going to believe in what I want to believe in, and that's it. And that's how 99% of people are. I'm sorry. And that leads up to the problems we have. That person should be burned. Oh, that person said I'm going to go to hell, so screw him. We should get him back. Let's yell at that Christian. Well, and the sad thing is that Christian didn't do anything. It's somebody else who did it. That's portraying to be a Christian. It's really not. There's a lot of people in all religions who are lost, and they don't have any kind of way of finding themselves out of the rut they're in. They either have some mental issues, they have emotional issues, or they just don't know any better. Or they just think they're better than everybody and they can do whatever they want. Or they're just opportunist. Where opportunity comes, I'll say whatever I got to do to get whatever I need out of it. And I believe that's a lot of people too. And let me see, I have a little bit of time, so I'm going to flip it over to James in a minute. But sad that we actually have to do a show about this, because it's supposed to be about paranormal and crypto and UFOs and monsters. But yet I have to talk about people being horrible to each other. Won't do shows with each other over beliefs. How are you going to get anywhere if you can't talk without saying so? And I'm talking about all together. If that person has a different belief and I have a different belief, I'll at least talk about it and get a common ground. But if you have people who are screaming at each other, and I get it, you can't get anywhere. But what should happen is the people who they're supposed to be representing should be the ones dealing with them. And I'm saying with everything. But the problem is people are so one-sided on each side, it's never going to get fixed. And it's sad. It's sad that James is a born-again Christian and I'm a pagan heathen. And I get along with him. Like I could live right next door to him. Like I was saying earlier, we're talking about before we show, and I would have no problem with it. I don't care what he does. Why do you care? Well, the Bible says I have to. No, it doesn't. It tells you have to teach them and talk to them. They don't want to listen. That's it. Drop it. Don't condemn me and try to make me believe in you. Then no one's going to believe in anything when they're forced. And I'm talking about and don't do the same thing. If a Christian does try to talk to you, listen to him. That's it. Walk away. If they continue, if you start bashing them and calling them, racist, all this, it's no better. You're doing no better than they would be doing. And I'm not saying, I'm talking about all religions. I'm just showing you examples. That's what I always see. It's these two religions are the problem right now that always fight. Christianity and pagan. I'm saying pagan Satanists, I'm putting them all together in one. That they're not in people. They're not the same. I'm just throwing those in together because that's what I see all the time. You go on TikTok, they're always fighting with each other. The one will show a comment as Jesus is Lord, and then the guy will start talking crap about him. It's Satanist, pagan, witch, whatever. And the other one, it will show the other thing. It shows this guy needs to go to hell because he's dressing up like a monster, and it will be him getting bashed that he's going to burn in hell. I've seen it. It happens all the time. Not once do I wish any bad to James Hershey or his family. Even if he believes in God, that's fine. I believe in what I want. I don't want anything happen to my family. I don't want anything happen to anybody's family. But like I said, I don't get it. It's crazy to me that how it's getting. I used to love doing this stuff, guys. I've been doing it for 6-7 years. I've been ghost hunting for years, 10 years, 11 years. And I've always had a love for it. But people are worried about dumb things, man, like that don't make any difference to me. And it shouldn't make any difference to you. But everybody's worried about how much money they're going to get or who they believes in this and what they live and how their lifestyle. If you don't agree with it, don't bother with them then. There's no point of arguing with somebody. You don't like something, you're not going to agree with it. Leave it at that. And I think we would have a better life. But there you go, James.
There is a reason why our founding fathers in their infinite wisdom put freedom of speech and freedom of religion as the First Amendment. Because they're so important. And everybody talks about free speech and everybody talks about freedom of religion, but nobody really understands what it actually means. Let's start with speech. Free speech is not limited to only the opinions that you want to hear. And that's going out to everybody. Everybody should get a say. I have had people on this show from every conceivable belief system almost. And I have listened to what they have to say. I may not agree, but we're always respectful. You shouldn't be threatened by an opinion you do not agree with. That is childish. A free society depends on the free exchange of ideas. Every opinion should go into the pot, no matter how crazy and outlandish. Because you should have the freedom to decide for yourself. That's what God gave us. He gave us free will. God does not force us to believe. We have the choice. You should not try to force others to believe. They have the choice. Do you give them the information? Absolutely. But if they don't want to receive it, that's okay. You planted a seed. Now go away. Somewhere down the line, God will bring somebody else along to water that seed. And eventually, that seed might grow and be harvested. And that person might come to Christ. But it's not up to you to decide whether or not they're going to believe. It's up to them. The best possible way that you can convert somebody to Christ is not by badgering them and insulting them. It's by providing an example to them. You want somebody to come to Christ? You want somebody to believe and to be saved? You show them the love of Christ. You don't show them the wrath of God. You show them the love of Christ. You be an example to that person. You don't condemn that person. And freedom of religion in our First Amendment is not limited to only the religion that you believe in. It means that every man and woman has the right to determine what they believe in, if anything. That is perfectly in line with what God said. He gave us free will to choose for ourselves. If you don't want to accept Christ, if you want to be a Wiccan, or you want to be a Satanist, or you want to be whatever, if you want to believe in Papa Smurf, whatever you want to believe in, you have that freedom to do so. You also need to understand what that means. You will be responsible for what you have done in life. Every single one of us are accountable to our own sin. There's a way out, but that's up to you to choose. It's not up to me to bash your head in with it. And that leads me to a comment that I've seen a lot, and something that's been actually said to me multiple times by other Christians. And that is, by hanging out with and being around and being friends with people that are not Christians, I am condoning their behavior or encouraging their behavior in some way. And that's simply not true. What good does it do to only hang out with other Christians? How does that help anybody? If I want to spread the gospel of Christ, and I want to try to bring some people over and to save them, how does it make any sense for me to only be around other Christians? People that are already saved. Wouldn't it make more sense to be around the people that need saving? If you're a fireman and your whole job is to save people from fire, which that's a really good metaphor, isn't it? That's kind of what we're doing here. If you're a Christian and you're trying to spread the gospel to save people from hell, you're trying to save them from the fire. So if you're a fireman and you're trying to save somebody from a fire, doesn't it make sense to go where the fire is? You're not going to be splashing around in the pool. Hey, I'm trying to save you from the fire. Dude, there's no fire here. We're in the pool, bro. Fire comes, I'll just go underwater. I'm good. No, you're going to go to where the fire is. That's where the people are in danger of burning up. There's too many people who don't know anything, who think that they know everything. And that's not just in religion, that's in every aspect of life. And it's exhausting. I mean, you can't do anything anymore without somebody trying to tell you how to do it. And 99 out of 100 times, that person has never done it before in their life. They have no idea what the hell they're talking about. But they're real quick to tell you. Old boy mentioned earlier that I'm an author. That's what I do. And I've actually had people come up to me and argue with me about what my book means that I wrote. Well, I think that in this part, this character said this, and it's a metaphor for this, and what the real meaning is this, and this. And I'm like, no, that's not what that means at all, bro. I wrote it. You know, that might be what you get from it, and that's wonderful if that's what you get from it. That's cool. But you can't tell me that's what I meant because I wrote it. I know what I meant. But I've had people that will argue with me about it and literally like get mad and tell me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Well, I think I do. I wrote it. I mean, it's out of control, guys. And it's past the point of ridiculous. You want to talk about paranormal unity? If that's something that you really believe in and you are listening to this show right now, make sure that your actions match your aspirations. I don't want anybody to have a bad life. I don't want anybody to have a bad afterlife. I don't want anybody to suffer. I don't want anybody to be punished for their behaviors. I love my fellow Christians, but you got to do better. Each one of you Wiccans, each one of you Satanists, each one of you pagans, each one of you atheists, each one of you agnostics, each one of you whatever, fill in the blank. I love you too. And I want nothing but good things for you. We got to stop fighting each other all the time. It's ridiculous. I used the ridiculous example earlier. If you want to believe in Papa Smurf, you're free to do so. And it's a funny way to say it, but it's reality, dude. Whatever you want to believe, believe it. That's on you. You're the one that's going to have to face God, not me. I'm not responsible for your sin. You are. So if you want to go through life believing whatever you believe, that's your choice. And if I'm wrong and God does not exist, then it's not going to really matter to me, is it? Because I'll have lived a wonderful life. I will have loved people. I will have helped people. And I will have been very, very happy. And if there's no God when I die, then I'm just dead and there's nothing. And I don't know any better anyway. But if you're wrong, and there is a God, what does that mean for you? That's the question that I would ask. And that's something that you really need to think about. Because if I'm wrong, no big deal. I'm just not around anymore. I just don't exist. I don't know any better. If you're wrong, what does that mean for eternity? As always, choice is up to you. You make up your own mind. I love you either way. With that being said, I'm going to throw over to Old Boy and get his final shout outs, and we will wrap up.
Thank you, brother. So just so you guys know, we didn't do it to preach to you or anything. We just see all this stuff always happening all the time. And it doesn't make any sense to me. I just hope you guys think about this show. I know a couple people might not care what we think. They're just saying it to get ratings. We're not. We're actually doing it because we see it all the time. And it happens to me and James all the time. We get condemned on each side. I've been condemned by my own people at sometimes, so it happens. So, but I hope you enjoyed us on Parax Radio on Sundays and Tuesdays for the Best of show. You guys want to get any merchandise, James will tell you where to go, shirts and all that. You also can go follow us on James Hershey Jr.'s YouTube page. All the old shows and new shows are on there, so check it out. I hope you guys like this show. We tried something a little bit different this time. So I hope you guys have a good night. Misfits, Sugar Ladies, Monster Lover, Demon Hunters, I love you, and blessed be. And good night.
The truth of the matter is that neither one of us even wanted to do this show, to be honest with you. It's not that this is something we wanted to talk about. It's something that I think somebody needs to talk about. And somebody needs to do it honestly. And that's what we do here. So I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments what you think. I'm sure that there will be some fireworks down there. But just remember before you type at me all angry that I love you. And I don't mean you no harm. That being said, we will catch you in the next one. Until I speak to you again. Love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.